Hello beautiful, welcome back to Nat's Beautiful Life. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my thoughts on 5 books that were chosen by 5 different YouTubers as their most anticipated books of 2022. And just like I did with my previous video, which was reading favorite books by YouTubers of 2021, I watched a lot of these videos and then I chose 5 YouTubers and one book each. So 5 books, and read them, and we're gonna talk about them today. To be on the list, it had to be something that wasn't really on my radar, maybe something that sounded interesting to me, but maybe I wouldn't have had like high on my list right away. So that's what I did. Actually, some of these books, once I heard about them, became very anticipated for me, and I became very excited for them. So some things went well, some things did not, so we're going to talk about it. If you're new to this channel, hello, my name is Natasha. I do videos on books, bullet journaling, art journaling, media, basically anything I want to do a video about because, hey, why not? And I would love it if you would like this video, if you like it, if you like me, you want to see more. Subscribe, and if you want to be notified whenever I upload a video, you can click the little notification bell. I do post every Friday, but sometimes during the week a surprise extra video pops up. Alright, without any further ado, let's get into this video. Alright, so 2 of these books I did as physical books, and the other 3 I did as audiobooks just because that was what was available to me. These are anticipated of 2022. They're 2022 releases, January through March, because had to get, it out, get the books out. So the first book that I read, I actually listened to as an audiobook. This comes from A Frolic Through Fiction, and that was Anatomy, and that is called Anatomy, A Love Story by Dana Schwartz. And this is an historical fiction book, and it's following our main character Hazel, who wants to be a surgeon, but because of the time she lives in, it's in the what is this, 1800s? I'm so prepared that she actually can't become one because she's a woman, but she wants to go to the school. So if you hear snoring, it's my dog sleeping, and he's quiet other than the snoring, so we're just gonna let him go. But she dresses up as a man and goes into the classes, rolls herself into the school, and the doctor, the teacher, figures it out, and he's like, you can't come to classes because you're a woman, I can't allow it. And he makes this deal with her. Look, if you can, because he was doing better, or she was doing better in the class than anyone else, because she had always wanted to be a surgeon. She's been studying anatomy and things like that for years, and he made the deal, if you can come in and pass the test without coming to the classes and the lectures, then you can become a surgeon, and I will let women into the class from now on. So she has befriended a man who is what do they call them? A resurrection man? There we go. So these are people who find about people who have died and have been buried, and they go and they steal the body and take it to doctors and anatomists and things like that so that they can learn more about the body. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so she gets him to start bringing her bodies, and she dissects them and learns about them, and so it's all of that. But there's also a little bit more to it. It is called a love story. She is supposed to marry a high in society man that she's known her whole life. He is around her same age, which I think is, great for her. I don't think that was like super common in those days, but and he's not into the whole letting her be a doctor thing. He kind of what's the word I'm looking for, while she's growing up and all of that, he kind of amuses her by, lets her do her thing. But once she's married, he's like, this is done, and she's not cool with that. So anyway, that's the gist of the story. It takes place in Scotland, which is awesome because both of our audiobook narrators are Scottish, There's a female that you hear most of the time. There's also a male. And I started listening to this a little bit quicker because I tend to listen to my audiobooks faster than the normal, because I can read a book faster than I can listen to an audiobook, but sometimes I just don't have the time to sit there and read all day, so I'll go do the audiobook. But when I sped it up, it sounded like, and I talked about this in I think my January wrap up, because I actually read this a little earlier, like February wrap up, how she sounded like Bryony from Arthur Christmas the Elf when you sped it up, and it was like Bryony reading me a story. It was great, but incredibly well done. Audiobook narration was great, and I enjoyed that part. Parts of this book were kind of boring to me. I just felt like get to the point, or, you know, is this part necessary kind of a thing. Again, it's YA, so I'm not really the audience for it, but I did enjoy the book, but I found myself getting to the part of, oh my word, will this ever end? Like, are we getting to the end now? I found myself not enjoying it anymore, but again, the audiobook narration kept me going anyway, because I just really loved hearing the voice. But if this book sounds interesting to you, because if I were to give you all of the spoilers and tell you all the little nuances of the book, you'd be like, that sounds really great, because it does. Maybe it was just a writing thing, but I feel like if this book sounds interesting to you, go ahead and read it. It was a solid 3 stars for me. I just didn't love it as much as I thought I would, but I don't hate it either, if that makes sense. But that's the first one, and I really did enjoy the narration. Okay, the second book that I believe I read was Brown Girls, and that is by Daphne Palasi Andriadis. I should know how to say this. Anyway, this one was presented to me by Mo from Books with Mo, or Reading with Mo. It's up here. I really like her channel because she reads different things, like interesting things. So the premise of this book is a group of brown girls, and that's the term she uses, growing up in Brooklyn. And if you are expecting like a certain group of girls, like these girls, these girls with these names, growing up and living their life and these things happening and something and something and something, and then we go on, you're not going to get that, because this is written in prose. This is all prose, and it is written in the collective we. So she's talking about all brown girls. Now there are a couple of snippets here and there where they talk about specific girls, a specific character, but that's not the point of the book. It is, like I said, in the collective we, and it is talking about all brown girls of all different races, mostly second generation, or excuse me, first generation born Americans. So their parents were the immigrants. They're the first generation Americans, and dealing with the understanding of the differences between how the parents live, think, and are versus how they think, being with two different cultures. So it could be any type of culture. It could be you know, Arab culture, could be Mexican culture, could be Asian culture, anything that isn't white. Pretty much anything that's an immigrant is basically what we're talking about here. Again, it's beautifully written. The prose is gorgeous. I did enjoy the book. It was a quick read. This is a very short book, very quick read, and I think it's a good thing to pick up. And if you are wanting to read a book that is written in prose, this is probably one of the easiest ones to give it a shot with, because like I said, it does have the flow of a story, and even the author herself kind of is like, so, you know, they call this a novel. You know, this isn't exactly what it was in my head. It actually was a short story that she expanded into a novel, but I found it very interesting. I enjoyed it. You are going to find extreme stereotypes, and I believe the author talks about how that's done on purpose. So just kind of keep that in mind. But I really did like this book. I think I gave it 3 stars, maybe 3 or 4 stars. I don't know. Can't remember. But I really did enjoy it. I do recommend it if you're into that sort of thing. This is not going to be a book for everybody because of, like I said, it's prose. It's written like a very long poem. But within the poem, things are happening. And you do go through a chronological order of things, but it's not tied up neatly in a bow like a regular novel would be, if that makes sense. So that one turned out to be a good one for me. I did enjoy that one. Was not what I thought it would be, but that's fine. The next one, I've got like 2 books here that I'm going back and forth with. What was the next one that I actually read? I did that one. I did, okay, yes. So BooksandLala, if you have watched my favorites of 21 by other booktubers, you will know that I hated the book from BooksandLala. But when she mentioned this one, I was like, that is the most anticipated for me now. I must have it. And that is The Night Shift by Alex Finley. I listened to the audiobook. I do recommend the audiobook. The narration is great, but I feel like you could read the regular book and that would be fine. I am on hold at the library for the regular book for this one and another one, and I still haven't caught them, but I found the audiobooks and it was great. Anyway, my point is, you know how I've been saying, I've said it a lot lately, how I don't like mystery thrillers. I want to, but they just don't make sense. You have to dumb down people who are supposed to be smart and all of this. Well, this was a 4-star read for me. I loved this book so much. I was so hyped for it. I was anticipating it and it did not let me down. Oh, you guys are gonna love this book. So it's a mystery, obviously. And there's a mass murder in a Blockbuster, December 31st, 1999. One person survives. And then 15 years later, there is a mass murder at an ice cream shop and one person survives. And oh, I don't want to tell you much of anything other than I had my thoughts. Like when you're listening or reading a mystery book, you're like, this could have been the person, or this, I bet you this, I bet you that. And then, nope. This book actually was good. There was one time I was like, oh snap, I bet you XYZ. But it was right there at the point, and that is exactly what happened. And I was just like, oh, that's so good. That's so good. And then who the killer winds up being, oh, you know, you could kind of see it coming, but not. And how it all went down. Oh my word, you guys, this is a good book. So our premise is we have our survivor of the original Blockbuster murders. She's become a therapist, but she's got issues of her own. She's bad with relationships and things like that, but she feels in her heart for other young girls who either have gone through trauma or are hurting themselves or something like that. So that's what she kind of focuses on, trying to help other people instead of fixing everything within herself. So when this ice cream murder thing happens, someone who knows she's a part of this group of people, the survivor, are like, you know, you're kind of uniquely qualified to talk to this girl. She's not speaking, you know, we can't get anything out of her. And I feel like you would be the one to reach her because you are uniquely qualified. So she goes and she meets her and all of that. So then there's a setup. So the cops within like the local area are supposed to be looking at the ice cream murders, but because it's so similar to the original Blockbuster murders, they have an FBI agent working to kind of look back at the Blockbuster murders again and then try to see if anything interconnects and all of that. That's all I'm going to tell you, because it's a mystery. You need to go in blind, and that's the setup. So just know this is an actual good mystery. I loved it. And I'm so happy that I had a mystery book that I read this year that just chef's kiss. Loved it. So BooksandLala, thank you so much. I loved this one. All right. The next one, grab my myriad of notes here, would be Becca in the Books. So her suggestion was The Wolf of Oren-Yaro by K.S. Veloso. This did not come out in 2022. The third book did. But she had not read the first book yet, so she was looking forward to the third book coming out and then binging the series. I read this one so that I could binge the series as well. I have not gotten to the rest of the series, but I'll have you know, I liked the first one so much, I did go buy the second one. And I probably might as well go and I should have just got the third one. You know? Anyway, so The Wolf of Oren-Yaro. So this one's like a special, I would say, special mention type of thing, because it's the third one that actually came out this year, but Becca needed to read the first one before she could get to that one. So that's why I kind of chose to do it this way as well. And I'm looking forward to see what she thinks when she gets through these books. Okay. This book is a fantasy. Because we are on YouTube here and all of that, this is called The Wolf Queen on this book and all of that, but it's referred to as something else on Goodreads and everywhere else. They called me the Wolf Queen, which is not the word they use, the female wolf queen. The she-wolf, because I murdered a man and exiled my king the night before they crowned me. And there you go. There's your setup for like who she is or who people think she is. This book was not what I thought it was going to be. I feel like this was setting up for everything else that's going to happen in the rest of the book. So when you go into this book, you're going to expect like a warrior with her sword constantly just cutting people down and taking charge, you know, and you're taking names and all this stuff. But it says right here in the synopsis that years later, she gets a mysterious invitation to meet her husband that's exiled, and she journeys across the sea in hopes of reconciling their past. An assassination attempt quickly dashes those dreams. She's stranded on land that she doesn't know, with no idea whom she can trust, and she will have to embrace her namesake, which is the Wolf Queen. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit in setup. She is that queen who is very off with your head kind of queen. She has to rule with an iron fist because she is in a land of a bunch of warlords. However, her one flaw is that she actually fell in love with her husband. It was an arranged marriage from the time they were born, or actually before she was born. And yeah, these two people were supposed to marry of the Oren-Yaro clan, I believe, and the Icosars. And they did. But she actually fell in love with him, and then when he like exiled, she had a child with him because she's supposed to produce an heir, all of this stuff. So when he contacts her and is like, come to this place, which is not a friendly to her people place, her advisors are like, don't go. But her son is like, bring my father home, because he's like, I guess 5 or 7 or something at that time. Anyway, it's been, yeah. So she winds up going to this place, and she doesn't make like an announcement that she's going. They're kind of in hiding because where they're going is not, like I said, friendly to her kingdom, and also the people of her kingdom do not look at her husband very kindly because he walked away from being crowned and serving and fulfilling his duty. So she kind of goes quietly. Well, things happen, and she gets separated from her group, her guards, her mentors, all of this. And a lot of people, a lot of them, she doesn't know who's dead, who's alive, and she doesn't know who, if anyone's betrayed her or what. And gets injured and all of this stuff. So she literally is stuck in a hostile place where people are not kind or good. She's really in the bad part of town, and all of these things ensue. I liked this book a lot. I liked her character because she had to rein in a lot of that off with their head stuff, because at times she didn't have a weapon, at times she did. She was not used to not being able to like snap her fingers and get what she wanted. And so she knew things had to be, she had to be like diplomatic about things, because she was pretending to be a commoner and all that. She does run into a scam artist, so like a grifter. And he turns out to be like the most honorable person that she could find, honestly. And you do have characters in this book that you really enjoy. This book is about her trying to find a way to either get back home or get word to home so they can come get her. She doesn't know who she can trust. She knows something's up, but she doesn't know what. And then she's hearing rumors that things are happening back home, that she needs to get back home and correct. And then there winds up being this just huge conspiracy all the way around. So there's that. And I do enjoy a good like travel story. There's a little bit of that, not a whole lot. You are focused mostly in this one city, this one area of the city, and the people there. And I don't want to spoil things this one. I'm trying to like, how can I do this without spoiling it? But I will tell you, there are some characters in this book that you will really, you'll know who your favorites are. You know who you're rooting for. You know who you love. And you will root for them. Even some of the not so great ones you will root for, and then you will know who to despise and who you don't like. And you will kind of learn things along the way as Tal, our queen, is learning. The things about this book that were a little jarring to me were, first of all, the writing itself is beautiful. It flows really well. But she meets bandits and bad people along the way who say things very vile and very inappropriate. But they're supposed to be those kinds of people who say such awful things. But it is thrown in the midst of this beautiful flowing writing, and it's jarring. Yeah, so there was that. This book was originally self-published, and then Orbit got a hold of it, and has done the rest of the series. The last one is called The Dragon of Ginseng, so I'll have to get that one too. But I actually went through this pretty quickly because it was an enjoyable read, and again, the writing's really well done. We left off at a place where it's like, girl, just go, you'll know what I mean when you get there. It ain't worth it kind of a situation. There's one character in this book, and he is Prince Ubek. Yeah. I pictured him as this guy. That's just who I saw him as. I pictured him in like yellow robes, but basically this guy. Because that's just the energy that came off. And it's funny is like, he also, like this guy, was like all about like, you know, my father will know then, I will show him, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, same energies. And it was kind of comedic to me, just how bad he was. But anyway, neither here nor there. What is it when I turn the camera on? My words just escape me. Anyway, I did enjoy this book. 3.5 or 4, can't remember. Maybe it's a 3.75. 3.75? Yeah. Because there was jarring moments and there were a couple of things that were just like, but I enjoyed it enough that I absolutely do want to finish this trilogy. So, good recommendation by Becca. Really enjoyed it, and I do recommend it. Okay, let's see what else we have. All right, so my last book is going to be All My Rage by Saba Tahir. This was recommended by Jenny over at The Story Ain't Over. I may look different than my last couple of segments. May look the same, I don't know. I actually filmed this, then left and did an errand and came back. It was just like, no, don't think... I don't think, I was starting to zone out. But anyway, so this book, first of all, I love Saba Tahir. Her An Ember in the Ashes quartet is one of my favorites. I love that fantasy series. Also, her class, I took a class of hers where she was teaching character development and how she creates her characters and really gets in their head, and it's very similar to method acting, and I really enjoyed that. But I didn't like this book. I'm just gonna put it out there. Kinda hated it and was glad when it was over. But here's the thing. I listened to the audiobook and nothing really happened and nothing was really interesting until... Well, I don't even want to say that. Okay, there's this is the thing with this book. It didn't really get interesting to me as far as like stuff happening, like our timeline moving along, things happening, okay, basically, until the last 4 hours of the book in the audiobook. And that's with me listening at 1.15 or something like that speed. Narrators were great. There was male and female narrators, as well as there's an older lady who's mentioned in the book and she has her own narrator. So we follow Sal, who is the son of Pakistani immigrants who've come over, and his mother wanted to run an inn or a motel or something. So they had a motel, and she loved it, and it was like her dream. And she dies. We find this out very early in the book. It's not a spoiler. She dies, and Sal wants to find a way to keep the hotel going. I thought we would see more of this family with this hotel or this motel and the running of it, and just the day-to-day kind of things like that, but we didn't get that. Sal's father is an alcoholic, and you'll learn that pretty quick. So Sal did not realize until after his mother died just how bad the financial situation was, and he makes some very bad decisions and does some things that are wrong in order to make money to keep the hotel afloat and pay the bills and all of that. Okay. We also follow Noor, who is from Pakistan. She was in an earthquake. Her whole family was in the earthquake, and she was the only one who survived. Her uncle dug her out even after everyone told her or told him that everyone's dead, leave him alone. He just kept going, and then he brings her to the US. So they live in Juniper, California. It's a smaller town and all of that. The setup and the way things sound was I'm picking, and if I were to like pinpoint and pick out all the major themes of this book, you would be like, that sounds so good. There are some very important themes in this book. I feel like this should have been a more poignant book with things that were going on. Again, I don't want to spoil anything. Certainly pick this up if this book sounds interesting to you. But we're following basically second generation immigrants again, except for even though Nora was born in Pakistan, she's been in the US since she was 6 and lives with her uncle who is Pakistani, but he wants nothing to do with Pakistan. Anything that has to do with it, he's just an angry man. Then you have Sal and his family, and you learn the things that make or encourage, I would say, his father to be an alcoholic. And again, important themes. And his mother is awesome. So he and Nora are best friends, and she also looked up to his mother as a mother because she didn't really have a motherly figure or even a parental figure that was good. And then all of the things that she knew about Pakistan and the food and the culture and the language and all that stuff, she got to embrace and share with his mom, whereas with her uncle at his house, he didn't want any of it. So also, here's the thing, whenever she came to the US and started school, she didn't speak any English, but Sal spoke Punjabi, and so they were able to communicate. And then of course his mother spoke the language as well, so she felt at home there. And even though, again, her uncle was like, don't speak Punjabi to her, speak English, I want her to be an American. And they just kind of let her be her. So like I said, there are good parts of this, good things in this book, but it was boring. The writing and the way it went was very boring for most of the book, which makes me incredibly sad. Super disappointed because, like I said, I love Sabaa Tahir so much. This book just fell super flat for me. But again, very important topics are mentioned. So, you know, it just had all the ingredients for a good book. This book is sad. It is maddening at times. It is infuriating. Some of the characters, there's a lot that will make you feel, but it doesn't, I don't know, I can't pick this up and say go read it. I mean, certainly if you are interested in this book, pick it up. I can't say it's bad. I don't know. There's just something about it that just did not click for me. It felt flat. And I literally found myself like putting my earbuds in and going, well, I've got 2 more hours of this boring book. Let me finish it. Like, I was ready to get it over with. And again, the last 4 hours, action picked up and stakes were raised and all of that. But it was just almost like we had to work hard to get there, even though there were these snippets of all these very important topics being brought up. But it just didn't do it for me, which is sad because I really wanted to love this book, but not a fan. I think I would end up giving it a 3 because of those last 4 hours. I was thinking of giving it like a 2.5, maybe 2.75, because I have so many books that I give a 3 that I really like, and I really didn't like this one. But again, I let that last 4 hours lift the rating up a little bit for me. I don't recommend it because I didn't like it, but I don't not recommend it. Like, I don't say don't read this book, it's terrible, because there's good to it. I don't know. But just be prepared for a very slow burn, for a very just drug out thing before you actually get to the motion. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to say about that book. It was a disappointment for me, which is sad because, again, I love Selma Tahir's writing normally, and this is the first contemporary type book that I've read by her. I don't know if this is her first like release to the public that was contemporary, so could be something like that. I don't know. But I certainly will not give up on her. She releases something else, I'll certainly read it. But this one just, like I said, it just fell flat. Like, it had so much potential, and there's so many important things in it, but it just didn't do it for me. So sad. Well, anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of these books, or if you have any anticipated books that are coming out. Where are we? April through June. Let me know if there's anything that you're looking forward to. Maybe we can read them together. And I think that's it. This is going to be a long video. So thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you very soon right here on Nat's Beautiful Life. Have a great day, gorgeous.